Hey guys, LevelCap here. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. Battlefield 5's open beta is in full swing. Along with its launch, DICE released a new trailer showcasing many of the game's new mechanics and features. It also gave us some more info about the game's Battle Royale mode, Firestorm. The mode is being developed by Criterion, the studio developing the Burnout Racing franchise. They previously worked with DICE to develop content for the Battlefront games as well. Firestorm will pit 16 teams of 4 players against each other for a total of 64 players. It'll feature destructible environments, tanks, transport vehicles, and conquest-style objectives that reward players with better gear during a match. The mode will be played on the biggest Battlefield map ever made, and progression made in Firestorm will count towards your company and general Battlefield 5 progression. A pre-order bonus for Firestorm content is available, but there's still no word yet on when the mode will launch. Players have been asking for some sort of post-DLC roadmap for the game, and while we haven't gotten one yet, the new trailer offers some details about the game's launch content. The War Stories style campaign from Battlefield 1 is returning. Battlefield 5 will feature 4 single-player campaigns with a 5th set to release after launch. They'll take place in Norway, North Africa, and France. Multiplayer will include 8 modes at launch, and we also know that there'll be at least 8 maps at launch. 2 set in Norway with Narvik and Fjell 652. Dutch maps, the Rotterdam map, and then Devastation, which is devastated version of Rotterdam. 2 North African maps, Hamada and Aerodome. And finally 2 maps set in France, Arras and Twisted Steel. As for the Battlefield 5 open beta, I've covered a lot of my first impressions of it in full videos, so be sure to check those out. Really, this is the best look we've gotten so far at actual Battlefield 5 gameplay. The alpha featured a bunch of stuff, but there were so many bugs and issues with it that it made it really hard to get an idea of what the final product was going to be. And although there are plenty of bugs still present in this version of Battlefield 5's beta, it's, I feel, a much closer representation of what we're going to get at launch. I'm actually quite enjoying the gameplay. There's many aspects of it. Again, I recommend you watch my first impressions video to see all the pros and cons of it. DICE has got some work cut out for them for sure, but they've also got some time between now and launch. I recommend you try it out for yourself. The open beta is currently available for free on all major platforms, so no reason not to. The first full update for Insurgency Sandstorm's second beta is now live, and it's an absolute unit of a patch. They've added 8 new graphics options that lets players further customize the look and performance of the game, addressed a major hit registration bug, implemented a number of optimizations, adjusted weapon balance, tweaked maps and modes, and much more. Overall, players are reporting better performance, but it's still not ideal. However, a lot of the more egregious FPS dips seem to have been ironed out for the most part. If the devs can keep this pace with future improvements, it's likely the game will run quite well, either by launch or hopefully shortly after. A new trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 4's Battle Royale mode called Blackout has been released, and it's full of details. Firstly, the mode will support 80 players, more than Battlefield's. The map is comprised of several noteworthy maps from the franchise's past, scattered across a larger open area. Fan favorites like Firing Range and Nuketown are featured heavily on the map. The trailer showcases a wide variety of vehicle combat, with players riding helicopters and trucks while shooting out of them. Supply drops can be caught with vehicles and driven away. Zombies will play a role in the asylum area of the map, and players can complete objectives to advance the match. Treyarch are targeting 60 FPS performance on consoles for the Battle Royale mode, but it sounds like the increased scale might make it pretty hard for them to hit that target. Overall, it looks like Blackout is taking the Battle Royale mode and putting a unique COD twist on it. And while I'm sure that it's not everyone's thing, I think the competition in this genre is good for everyone. Part of why the Battle Royale genre feels a bit worn out right now is that the new games aren't really trying to advance the formula very much. Between Blackout and Firestorm and all the other Battle Royale games coming out soon, it looks like the genre could get a bit of a mix-up for the better. PUBG Update 21 is on the test server. It adds the new training mode, complete with a custom-made map, a new assault rifle called the MK47 Mutant, a new laser sight attachment, and a new Sanok exclusive vehicle called the Tuxai or something like that. Several big bug fixes were also implemented. The Blue Zone has also gotten a visual overhaul to look more consistent in the game's various weather conditions. As for the UI improvements, there's finally an in-game network stats readout that shows players' ping, connection speed, and packet loss. This should help diagnose the game's long-standing network issues. The spotting system has also been re-implemented. Players can now ping a spot on their screen, which places a marker icon on the heads-up display compass. This isn't nearly as overpowered as the first wall hack style ping system that the devs tested a few weeks ago, but it should still help make communicating with teammates a bit simpler. Once the update has completed its testing phase, it'll be added to the game's live servers. PUBG's 1.0 update is now live on the Xbox One. It adds Sanok and the game's Maps event pass to the console version. Rainbow Six Siege is the latest game to get its own Twitch Prime loot. Hibana, Finka, Ella, and Bandit each get a set of skins exclusive to Twitch Prime. In total, it includes 17 cosmetic items they will release randomly in the coming months. Ubisoft are also rewarding players that enable two-factor authentication in Uplay with a unique skin for Thermite. Two-factor authentication will be required for competitive matchmaking in the near future. Death Stranding is scheduled for a stage presentation during this year's Tokyo Game Show. The presentation will be held on the 22nd and will include Hideo Kojima and the game's voice actors on stage. The game's previous presentation was at E3, where we got our first look at actual gameplay. It's likely the Tokyo Game showing will offer even more details. The FACEIT CSGO Major Tournament is in full swing right now. So far, it's been a pretty exciting event, even by CSGO standards. Be sure to check it out live on Twitch. A new trailer for the upcoming third-person stealth game Hitman 2 has been released. It'll showcase the game's enhanced gameplay mechanics. A new heads-up display element has been implemented that works as a sort of picture-in-picture display when important things happen that the player can't directly see. It's an interesting mechanic, especially for a stealth game. Giving players more information or clarity about why exactly enemies have been alerted or an objective was failed is certainly welcome in any stealth game. Metro Exodus finally has a release date. The highly anticipated third game in the Metro franchise was previously delayed from its 2018 release window and will now launch on February 22nd next year. The game is a pretty substantial overhaul of the previous two games. It features a pseudo-open world level structure, a full day-night cycle, new inventory mechanics, a designed stealth system, new enemies, and much more. It'll also be one of the first games to officially utilize NVIDIA's new RTX ray tracing technology. Destiny 2's latest expansion, Forsaken, has launched. Summarizing what it adds to the game is no small task, as it actually includes an entire new world to explore, a new raid, weapons, PvP modes, story content, and frankly a whole lot more. It's on par with the original game's Taken King DLC in that it's basically a total overhaul of the game and its progression system. Basically, if you don't have it, you're missing out on a ton of new content, but getting it will run you at least $40. So if you're not still playing Destiny 2 on a regular basis, it might be smart to wait for a discount. H1Z1 is now getting a mobile version. Simply called Z1, it's being co-developed by Daybreak following investment from Nantworks, who will be helping with the port process. H1Z1 was quickly dethroned as the top Battle Royale title following PUBG's release last year. However, since then it's actually found quite a bit of success on the PS4. Details about the mobile game haven't yet been announced, but it's reasonable to assume that it'll be free to play and launch on both iOS and Android. In our final story this week, a new Lord of the Rings game is in the works. Publisher Athlon Games recently struck a new long-term licensing deal to make games set in the renowned franchise. Athlon is a subsidiary of the same company that owns the developers of Warframe, which hopefully means good things for the Lord of the Rings games. That said, Athlon haven't said who will be making the first game. However, it will be a PC title, likely online co-op, and probably free to play. It'll also be a prequel to the main Lord of the Rings story. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments which story you thought was the most interesting, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.